Nope. Fix.
You're muted.
Welcome back. I'm Jacob.
I'm Aiden.
And I'm BB.
And together we are the
Butter
Bunch.
It was a great intro. 10 out of 10.
Yep.
I love how BB, you didn't even clarify to Jacob that he was muted. He's like, no fix. It's like,
I
we didn't understand.
Well, I figured
yeah.
it would be pretty. I figured once I saw that he would look at his screen and see that he needed to unmute.
Saying the word fix to somebody whose screen is constantly covered with other things, especially on the host mode of StreamYard, does not clarify anything.
Well, it clearly means you need to fix something. So
Yeah, but
Yes,
fix
it doesn't
what?
clarify what needs to be fixed. It's like the Old Man Jenkins thing from last episode.
No fix. Fix what? Fix myself? Fix you? Fix the screen? Is the stream not streaming? We don't know. Just no.
Exactly.
Fix.
Yeah. There could be a number of things, you know.
Is the stream broken? Who knows? Is chat dead?
Well, the host is certainly broken. Anyways, we're all fixed now.
Really not, though.
Yes. Anyway.
So we're back today with more Wayward Guide for the untrained eye, but it just says Wayward Guide in all of them, so makes more sense, more marketable that way. Yeah. Last time, we learned that werewolves are real, or are they? Again, it's the real question.
Well, furries are very real. So werewolves are real in some sense of the word.
If that's what you count, I'm not sure, because there's a certain amount of involuntary action that comes from werewolves, particularly.
Do you think some people are just born furries too? Okay, it happens.
Being a furry is a little different than being a werewolf.
Is it though? I mean,
A little, yeah.
Is it?
I feel like I feel like furry encapsulates a lot more than even if they were just.
Both have ears. Both have snooters. I'm just saying.
Yeah, not all of them have tails and all and
Thumbs
snooters and any of that.
Thumbs
actually.
and fingers. Yeah, thumbs and fingers, Aiden. Even by your logic, thumbs and fingers. Yeah.
I don't know. Werewolves have thumbs and fingers sometimes. Well, it depends on the werewolf adaptation, I guess.
Okay.
Whenever supposed to, but
okay. So to everyone, whenever I say thumbs and fingers, what I'm like calling back to the old adage of all thumbs are fingers, but not all fingers are thumbs.
I don't get it, but yes.
okay.
So by your logic, all werewolves would be furries, but not all furries would be werewolves.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
Yeah, there we go.
Okay,
yeah.
that makes that you clear. I was confused.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there you go. I didn't bail on you when you most needed me to explain something. All right, so chapter 7 of Wayward Guide. Let's see how Artemis and Paul summarize the events of last episode.
I wonder if I'll understand this, because I missed a few episodes because I got busy the past few weeks. So let's see if I understand this, or if I'll be very confused from the podcast.
Oh, it's okay. You would have been confused anyways.
That is true. Even when you do watch the episode, they're still confusing, so that's fair. All right, without further ado, on with the review.
Chapter 7.
Investigative journalism has always been a passion for me and Paul.
I know that might seem convenient for the sake of storytelling, but it's actually true.
It's in character for the both of you, so why would it be convenient?
During our teenage years, we spent a lot of time in and out of foster homes, so our options for entertaining ourselves were pretty slim.
We quickly discovered the easiest and cheapest way to pass the time was reading. Artemis with a stack of dime store novels, and me with
Yeah, we know what you think of reading, Aiden.
beat up
Ew, nasty.
Maybe it was because of our big ol' unresolved past and
Let me
uncertain
guess,
future.
Paul's in the Batman, isn't he? He's like, Batman's so cool, he's a detective. Or he's in, ideally he's in a Tim Drake, because Tim Drake's considered the best detective out of the Bat family. But
That's not true.
Batman, I was gonna say, isn't Batman called the world's best detective? The
Yes.
world implies including the family.
Yes, he
technically-
is. Aiden is wrong.
Okay. No,
Batman is the greatest detective in the family. Tim is the second greatest.
Well,
I mean, of course, it's a great deal of scrutiny anyway, because like, what is the qualifications for the world's greatest detective, and who originally coined that phrase? Whether or not we should give that leeway, but at least from the perception of the people in universe, it would be Batman. I'm
just saying. I mean, there's some pretty good competition in the DC universe. I mean, you have Detective
which
Chimp.
is good.
You have the Question. You have the Question.
I was thinking of the Question actually. I was going to mention him as a joke, but yeah, fair enough.
He's quite cool.
Faceless man. Well, he's not faceless. He wears a mask, but that makes him look faceless.
Okay, well, Batman isn't really a bat. That's man bat. So
which, by the way, I'm wondering, how thick does that mask have to be to like cover up your facial features? Because it has to be thick enough. It has to be fairly thick because
it has a lot of like iterations. It has padding for reasons of protecting against like being punched in the face as well. So it's of the double purpose.
Like whenever it's shown in cartoons, though, it's like whenever he pulls it off, it looks like it's a thin piece of cloth. It's like it wouldn't look like a thin piece of cloth because your nose kind of pokes out a little bit from your face. So if you were to put a thin piece of cloth over your face, there'd just be a giant, like mini little lump where your nose is.
Yeah, I mean, but like this is always
recovers. It's memory foam. It's memory foam mask.
Cartoon superhero masks have never, ever been realistic at any point in its history. Spider-Man, Batman, Robin, none of those eye holes are moving like they are.
I mean, the ones that do, they probably shouldn't.
No, I mean that's the thing. They all move their eyes and stuff in ways that is not possible. A Green Goblin, you're supposed to believe he's wearing a mask, but like he's clearly just become a demon or something. Like
or he has very heavy contact lenses.
Right? Like yeah, I mean the mask thing has never been accurate. That's kind of why
the only time it was accurate was in the first live action Spider-Man movie where it wasn't moving.
Not true.
It wasn't moving in that movie.
No, I know. What I'm saying is that it was accurate to real life, not accurate to the actual like outfit. I think the only time that we've
also you mentioning cartoons specifically in this with cartoon masks. If we talk about live action, then yeah, like most of the time they can't get away with that.
Yeah, I know. Well, that's the thing, right? So, like, comics and cartoons can get away with it because they don't have to obey normal rules of physics. The only time I can actually remember where you get the comic logic, like, sort of like animated designs in a live action thing would have been Tom Holland's Spider-Man, where they specifically made it so that way they could, like, pay homage to, like, the moving eyes. Although it's still not as animated as it is in, like, the comics and shows, but...
What do you mean? It's not going Ultimate Spider-Man levels of animated eyes?
No, but it's certainly going more than the Maguire or
Andrew.
Well, yeah.
When you said first live action Spider-Man movie, I thought of the 1977 Japanese one.
That's not a movie.
Yes, it is.
Is it a movie?
Yes.
That was a TV show.
There's a show as well. There's actually quite a few Spider-Man movies that came out before Tobey Maguire. It's just that no one remembers them.
I only knew of the one.
There's a handful.
There was a live-action Fantastic Four before the early 2000s one.
It's sort of.
Yes, made by Hammer Films. I recall, if I recall correctly.
Okay, that's not necessarily qualifier for released. It was made. It even has a universe designated number that they made much, much later. The movie has never been officially released, though.
Dang.
The speculation is that because the owners of the rights for the Fantastic Four films, they had to make a movie at the time, or else they would be like losing their rights to it. So they had to make a movie in order to keep it.
They just never released it.
And people say it's more accurate to the Fantastic Four than any of the other Fantastic Fours that we've got at the time of streaming this video.
Potentially the next one will maybe better, but
next months or so, just to know, at the time of recording this video, that is the perception.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, I am really excited for the upcoming Fantastic Four movie. I think it's gonna be good. I think, or at least hope so.
Yeah.
Although I will say I do have a soft spot for the early 2000 Fantastic Four movies. I know they're not that good. I just have a little bit of a soft spot for them.
Okay, fair enough.
Towards mysteries.
Ooh, how poetic. So you're saying we're kind of like Detective Dark?
Who?
You're killing me, Artie. He's like the most famous Magnificent Comics character.
Except
we didn't even talk about him in our
Batman parody. Batman parody. Oh, God. Detective Dark. Darkwing Duck?
I was going to say it was maybe a Darkwing Duck parody. Yeah.
To cope with his traumas?
Is Darkwing Duck a detective?
I think so. I think he's technically a detective. He's basically just a giant Batman parody.
Yeah, but like, has he ever done any detectives? Like, I know the movies for Batman really skimp on that detail, but like, to be clear, he does solve mysteries and stuff in other media. Does Darkwing Duck ever do that?
Haven't seen the show, so unclear.
Yeah, I have to get back to you on that one.
The sleuths, the gumshoes, the private eyes who sifted through murky waters to make sense of things. To shine a light in the darkness.
Pretty soon we graduated to the nonfiction stuff. Dateline, 2020, and 60 Minutes. You know, the programs your Midwestern aunt
true
recaps
crime.
to you in a far too long email from her Yahoo account. Those were our jam.
What can we say?
I now want to know what the show 2020 is like.
What can we say? Something about the way Barbara Walters got the scoop was comforting. And honestly,
2020 is probably like a bunch of 20-minute stories. Like
I guess that would be that would be, you know, like brand accurate.
That's my at least guess, you know. I will say I personally do love true crime, but I also kind of hate true crime on the basis that true crime kind of sensationalizes horrific events, and then people stop looking at them as horrific events and as, oh, that was a cool story about those murders. And that serial killer, it's like, that was cool. It's like, no, it's kind of horrible.
Okay, wait a second. So like when I hear there's a show called 2020 in a medium that came out before 2020, I'm thinking that it's not true crime necessarily, but it is like, you know, a crime drama that is potentially speculative fiction. Which is why I'm curious about it, because what was speculated about 2020 was not at all what happened in actual 2020. That's why I mentioned it, not because of any true crime purposes.
I know.
If anything, I'm remembering back when one of my old English teachers said that there used to be a show called 2009 or something for when he was a child, and how, like, again, it talked about like all these different things about, you know, what people thought was going to happen. How people are going to be on the moon and such, or live on the moon, rather than like obviously having already gone there. He's not that old.
We got to that part.
Yeah, we did, absolutely. Yeah, it's almost been 60 years, in fact. But anyway, so but yeah, like I looked for that show because I was like, oh yeah, I remember that my teacher told me about this. I wonder if that's a thing.
That has to be the most unsearchable show in the world.
Yes, it absolutely is the most unsearchable show in the world. You think Knowledge Box was difficult to find any information on? Yeah, absolute zilch. I don't know.
At least Knowledge Box has a distinct name.
Yes, it does.
And why we do what we do today.
Well, did.
Thanks for being part of our origin story, Babs.
But the idea of following in the footsteps of our favorite broadcast journalists always seemed far from attainable. That is, until podcasts hit the scene.
Suddenly, the way into our dream job became
podcasters aren't really known for their investigative journalism. They're mostly known for their dude bros being like, women, am I right? They're the worst.
No, that's not what podcasters are known for. That's what Joe Rogan is known for.
Listen, podcasters, there are a lot of male-led podcasts which are like,
sure, but judging all podcasts by what Joe Rogan does is the equivalent of judging K-pop by what BTS does.
No, it's just a pretty well-known thing of a lot of podcasts, where a lot of podcasts.
Sure, that's not what they're known for, though. Like, there's
it's also
so many decent ones. Like,
oh no, that was me talking about general true crime, which isn't just podcasts; could be other media. That was just true crime as a genre, which I like, but I also hate at the same time, because God, people are the worst. Just like a lot of podcasters. Give a man a microphone. they'll say some pretty scary shit.
I think the only true crime thing that I've ever actually been into, partly because of my nan, was Judge Judy. She was obsessed with that show.
My mom's a big Judge Judy fan.
The stakes are so low in that it just does not matter.
Yeah, it's not about the Manson murders or anything like that.
No, I don't recall any murder trials in Judge Judy's courts.
Judge Judy is too much. Oh yeah, no, that's a different category than what she does. But
yeah, I know she works in small claims. I understand that.
Yeah, but no, I don't know. I've always thought that Judy was too much of a dick to really get super into her. Judge Mathis, I think, was the one that would show up on TV sometimes that I would actually sit down and watch sometimes, though.
Yeah, here's one for you, Judge Romesh, which is a parody made by British comedian Romesh Ranganathan. He used to be my cousin's teacher, actually.
Dang, that's cool.
Yeah, but yeah, people come to him for the most absurd things, obviously people would not actually go to real court for, and that's the whole gimmick basically. It's who is right in the eyes of the common person judging the idiocy of others, basically. So Judge Judy, but funny.
Needed to start a podcast was a recording device and a unique perspective.
Now anyone could document riveting human interest stories, not just the Barbara Walters or Detective Darts.
Are we going Detective Darts is actually kind of an interesting idea.
You know what?
No, that's green. That's Green Arrow mixed with Batman.
Or it's just darts from Yu-Gi-Oh! This is
I'm just saying.
I'm going to take over with the Great Leviathan, so I got a podcast now, man.
Jacob, superhero idea for the Butterverse: Detective Dart. He was a gambling man until he would love throwing darts at the dartboard until a murder happened, and he decided to investigate it. Ever since then, he's been a detective, throwing his darts at any criminal.
Yeah, let's say he has to do his big victories with darts every time.
That's how he defeats people. Instead of better, he throws darts at them
I'm picturing the casino that he's in at the time or something is actively being robbed, and someone is running past while he's throwing a dart at the board, hits the person and something. That's his first offense. I've got a taste for this now.
You know how Wolverine has the fastball special where he gets chucked by someone much larger and stronger than him, and he just he just ends up getting chucked at things. And one shot him. It's called the fastball special. Well, what if Detective Dart has pinned the tail on the donkey?
Oh my god. He just shoots a dart on people's butts or in their butts.
Maybe his arch nemesis is called the donkey.
Oh, that's so good. Oh, that's so good.
Well, okay then. Hi, Ghost Kitty. Welcome to our madness.
Hello, Detective Dart versus the donkey. No Butterverse.
You better pray your troubles away, Detective Darts.
What would be Donkey's powers though? Would he be
Does he even need powers?
I don't know. Maybe he just has no powers, but he's just obsessed with donkeys for some reason.
Right? He's just in a donkey fursuit. That's his whole thing.
Maybe his order is also incredibly Monday. He played the donkey in a nativity one time and got a taste for it for life.
Oh my god!
Just like how Detective Dart's got a taste for happening villains by accidentally throwing a dart in a robber's face.
I mean, if you wanted to get a little bit darker, you could do you could do that one Godzilla VHS analog horror series, I forget what it was called, where there's the idea of the people inside of the rubber suits in the original films got exposed to radioactive waste or whatever, and so they blew up.
Became a literal donkey man.
Well, no, they blew up within the rubber suits, and so their bodies melded to it, and so they formed into it and became the creatures.
I feel like you would just die at that point. I'm gonna be honest. I think you would just die.
It's a horror monster, Aiden. It's not meant to be realistic. Jason Voorhees was meant to kick the bucket many moons ago.
Many moons.
If actually technically Jennifer was not even meant to like physically show up at any point.
Yeah, it was his mom.
That's
Jason's mom has got it going on. She's killing kids, and it's actually pretty kid.
Sorry?
What?
I don't know. I don't know. I had to meet her, and I had to say something, so I freaked out.
You didn't have to say something though. Like that's the thing. You could have just not said anything.
To avenge her son. There you go. We fixed it.
I freaked out. It's something I can't freak out.
Okay. All right. I haven't had Techno Pops. I think I had that one to Ghosty, if I recall correctly. But yeah, that's the last I remember of talking about that.
Walters or Detective Darts.
Dark? Detective Dark? Come on, his films have been rebooted like 4 times.
So you could imagine how excited we were when we got hired at APN to work on good old American living.
And after years of hard work and countless American living stories,
we were on Batman had at this point.
Well, they reference films, so we have.
Well, obviously, I don't mean like the comic reboots.
We have like the '80s one, like that includes like Batman '89 and like Batman and Robin.
Hold on, and
you also you also have the Batman the movie, I think, if I recall.
Right, and that's the thing. What do we constitute as a reboot? Does something have to end and then another have to start for it to count as a reboot? Because like you have a bunch of like concurrent Batman stories as well.
Well, movie-wise, I mean, at least live-action Batman-wise, we have 1 series, 2 series, and then we also have, like, the DCU stuff, which I guess that version of Batman never had his own film, but it was a live-action Batman who was basically the lead of Justice League, I guess, technically, or, like, a co-lead in Batman v Superman, And then we have the Batman, so we had 4 so far live action interpretations.
And again, we also have I think it was the Batman the movie or something in like 1960 something.
Yeah, there was the 1966 show which got a movie to it. Actually, got multiple movies to it. They got some new animated ones, but the original one, 1966, is the one you're referring to.
So roughly 4 to 5, technically, I would say.
That's not counting the animated ones. That's just live action.
Yeah. And then you have. Oh god, all the DC.
There's a lot of live action. We don't have time for that.
a lot of animation. Anyways, yes.
Yeah.
Video podcast
to us. Finally, we had become the heroic detectives of our own grand mystery. Well, for
werewolves,
at least.
Furries.
In the pursuit of truth and justice, one can push too far, dig too deep,
and get murdered.
And that's exactly what we did in Connor Creek.
After a while, the line between good guy and bad guy becomes so thin that you can't even tell when you've crossed it.
Whoa.
Can you?
Was that Nietzsche?
Even better. Detective Dark, Liberty Team, issue 182.
Liberty
Hold on.
What's Liberty?
Hold on.
Justice League, I imagine.
Oh.
Liberty what?
Team.
Liberty.
Okay, so that's all. Yeah. Okay, so that's for sure Justice League, and then it was 182, right?
Yes.
182. Let's see.
You're gonna try and find like whatever quote Paul just warped to make that reference.
I want to see. Let's see.
There's a problem though.
Evie's gonna speed read an entire comic issue.
There's one problem with that though. There's so many Justice League books out there, and it's been rebooted so many times. It could be referencing any Justice League book.
That's why she asked me for the number, Aiden. So that would the search would be reduced to 1.
No, the search would be reduced to what, like 27, 28, maybe? Like
not at all, because not everything.
Are there 28 issue 182s of something?
No.
Justice League's been rebooted a few times,
and that's the exact reason why that's not the case.
Issue 182?
No, they haven't.
Yes, they have.
They haven't.
How many times have they been rebooted then?
Many times.
Matter.
They don't always. Here's the thing. What always happens in both Marvel and DC is they go to the next volume. The next volume is incredibly short-lived, and then they go back to volume 1.
Yeah. So there's multiple.
So there's not very many 182s.
I don't know. I feel like, especially older comics, we get to them. Even maybe some newer comics.
Yeah, the older comics, yes, because those ones they keep returning to.
Listen, I'm just saying.
What you're saying is wrong.
Also, we have the subsection Justice League of America.
No, trust me, I've already looked through all of that. We only have one 182. There's only one option. I've gone through every single volume.
There's no way.
Spin-offs.
There's no way.
Have you been speed reading? Are you like that lizard in the owl house that just goes like?
There's no way. There's no way a Justice League book hasn't reached like 182 multiple times.
They haven't. Go and check it yourself.
Why have they not continued a Justice
Because
League
the
book?
new volumes are always short-lived. They never get the reception as the first volume. So then they just go back to what they know works.
I mean, you have even the older stuff. Like you have pre-New 52. I would assume not pre-New 52.
Oh, and by the way,
pre-crisis, they would have got to 182, and then post-crisis, they would have got to 182.
America, Volume 1. 182. That's the only version.
What
the only volume.
Mean? They should have.
It released in September 1980.
Dang. Why? This is dumb. They should have at least got 2 to 3.
How dare they never get 182 issues of a single of more than one iteration of the Justice League?
Listen, if you look up Spider-Man, you're gonna get a good amount. If you look up Batman, you're gonna get
yes, you'll get a good amount of Spider-Man, not a good enough amount of 182.
Actually,
Are there multiple? Actually, you know what, Aiden? I'll ask you this: are there multiple Spider-Man 182s? Have multiple versions of Spider-Man reached that number? Because, I mean, it's entirely possible because he's
okay, the Amazing Spider-Man, the Spectacular Spider-Man.
All right. So a couple, I mean, again, fairly decent, but, again, it still would be a rare number.
Marvel Comics, the Amazing Spider-Man. Wait.
Are you going through different versions or ones that actually hit that number?
I mean, all of these seem to be different labels.
Yeah,
so
a different comic.
Yeah.
Is there
just from context clues.
Yeah, the Amazing Spider-Man, Spectacular Spider-Man. These are 2 different comics.
Yes.
They don't have a good encyclopedia. Come on, give me a good encyclopedia.
I mean, there is a high chance that there just aren't that many entries that is to what you are looking for currently.
Nah, I know there are, but they're just coming up with the oldest versions, which are from the 60s and stuff. Because I know some of
they would have to be pretty old to have started a long time ago to reach that number anyway.
Yeah.
If you go by a weekly schedule, there's 52, weeks in a year, assuming that they're published this with no interruptions once a week without fail. That is still multiple years in the works.
Yeah, but listen, some comic book characters do have quite a lot of long-running shows, long-running stuff. Maybe in the modern sense, you're probably not going to run into many, say, Miss Marvel 182s, but you are going to run into at least a good handful of Batmans, a good handful of Spider-Mans, a good handful of even Supermans, Action
Good handful
Comics.
of Spider-Mans. I'm literally looking through the entirety of the Amazing Spider-Man alone. Admittedly, it's not counting Spectacular Peter Parker, just the main one.
Spectacular Peter Parker,
which again is Volume 1 because that's the one they keep returning to.
Spectacular Peter Parker.
God.
I cannot stress enough how there's usually not that many numbers. They don't usually last long.
Well, the Spectacular Spider-Man and the Amazing Spider-Man from back in the day lasted long, and I'm sure there's definitely more. There is definitely more, but the more recent comics aren't coming up because I don't think a lot of people care about those as much.
They didn't. Yeah, I know. That's the point.
Which is the reason that BB says they did not last as long as the ones that people did, in fact, care about, and that they returned to. That is, we have reached the exact same point.
But yes,
and as such, they don't end up reaching such a goal.
Several characters like Spider-Man and Batman have.
They just have. Okay, man.
That's good for them, but not the Justice League, which is
I'm
what we
surprised. Again, the Justice League has existed since the 60s. Yeah, what do you mean?
What I mean is what I started out with, which is they keep doing new volumes and they don't sell well.
God, DC.
They don't get money.
I forgot what the quote even was at this point. I don't remember.
I don't know. Listen, we end up going on tirades and listen. Okay,
Oh no, it was something about the line being blurred between like good and evil. You don't know until you've crossed it. Yeah, there you go.
I mean, I think you'll know when you're about. I think if you're self-aware enough, you'll realize when you're about to cross that line.
That's the thing. Most people aren't. You know,
if you're self-aware enough and you're like, wait a minute, I would
also make the argument that different people put that line in different places.
Yeah, true.
And that's also that's another good thing to put in a comic. Maybe a Detective Darts issue. We do need to make a comic at some point.
It's something we've all thought of before.
Oh yeah.
I don't know. Maybe Detective Dart's gonna be that comic.
There you go. 182 issues coming your way, YouTube. Well, I guess not YouTube, maybe.
And after we hit 182, that's where it ends.
That's the finale.
That's the number, and that's it. Yeah.
That's the finale.
From the American Podcasting Network, this is the Wayward Guide for the Untrained Eye. I'm your host, Artemis Shoehorn.
And I'm your co-host.
We said we're streaming early, so
bone
we
in
get
his
through.
body because I'm positively Paul Light. I'm Paul Shoehorn.
I knew this was
when
going
we
to go
last left Connor Creek,
planned.
the residents had put aside their political divisions after the town council election.
Only to replace it with a new paranoia that drove them even further apart. Who amongst them was a bloodthirsty werewolf?
Now, as outsiders, Paul and I felt slightly removed from the town's wolf craze.
Well, speak for yourself. I was attacked.
The point being, we needed to maintain our cool if we had any chance in bringing order to the chaos.
We recognized a pattern and developed a theory. Ryan, Prism, and Odie were all anti-mining. Clearly the motive was tied to Minor Mole's operations.
But all of that was thrown out the window when Barney, a man vehemently in favor of the Minor Mole expansion, turned up dead. With the rug pulled out from under us, Paul and I were just another two screwballs making accusations that didn't hold up. Do you remember in Chapter 4 when we discussed the observer effect? How subjects of a test or investigation change their behavior when they're being observed?
Well, Artie and I quickly became the victims of a new phenomenon that we'll call the shoehorn effect, where the subjects, aware of our observance, turn on the observer. It's kind of like Planet of the Apes, when the monkeys rise up and revolt against the human scientists.
Ah yes, Planet of the Apes, when the monkeys revolt. Let's review that sentence, shall we?
It's the human scientists.
But Paul, the scientists were the bad guys in that story.
Yeah.
I can't be seen talking to you two. It could tarnish my perfect customer satisfaction record.
Quinn, we're here to help.
No. You see, you've taken a risotto. A perfectly seasoned mushroom risotto with long-grained carnaroli. And you've overstirred it.
I assume that's bad.
Carnaroli.
Excuse me while I scream into my apron.
Fear of a common enemy had finally unified the locals of Connor Creek, and they made it very clear that this was no longer our fight.
Honey, I need you to listen to me for a second. Grab all the mining gear you can carry and bring it to Minor Mole. Those dogs aren't getting to Mr. Thorson.
Cliff, I literally just suggested this, but of course, when it's your idea.
I'm sorry, I wasn't paying attention.
I would have thought the mining gear would already be in Minor Mole, but maybe not.
Do you think the precautions are really necessary? We still
I mean, maybe. I mean, I imagine at least with like a mining operation, they have like some mining equipment near the mine, but they also have like some extra equipment in the actual like company area. Probably.
Okay. New movie parody idea for this universe: Moon of the Monkeys. There you go. That's what Planet of the Apes should be.
Sip it, Miss Shoehorn. I'll worry about my family, and you worry about yours.
I got Jules yaks it now. Jules.
I should note, that wasn't a burn. It was just advice.
In a reactionary move, Truman had assembled a werewolf hunting task force and put Sheriff Madison in charge. We, on the other hand, were in favor of continuing a more investigative approach, analyzing the facts, following the breadcrumbs, and most importantly...
Oh yeah, I forgot. Murder. Yeah, you weren't here. You weren't here for when I made my Councilman Tarlock comparison. For when
Quarterback doesn't understand. I know it's different.
Come on, yeah. I am sure you've seen Legend of Korra.
Oh, I have seen Legend of Korra. Yes.
Yeah, Councilman Tarlok from book 1. Yeah.
It's been a while. Okay, it's been so long.
Okay, fair enough. Since I first watched book 1 of Legend of Korra. All right. Okay. Yeah. So in that case, yeah, Councilman Tarlok was the guy who assembled the task force originally to crank down on the Equalists.
Not jumping to conclusion.
Well, supposedly, he also targeted like any non-bender that he saw outside of curfew, but whatever. That was, aside from that point, it was mainly an equalist anti-tactic. Anyway.
But nobody cared what we thought. The town had already sided with Truman, and Madison always sided with the town.
Oh, hey, all right, so, Riley, can you go fetch Olivia? I think we need to take stock of the artillery we're working
Olivia?
with.
Have we met her before?
I'm hitting the field now. I got my camo.
I think we have, but I forgot that name.
There is no way someone's killing a wolf before me.
No, but we need
What?
to stick together.
You guys are really scared of these werewolves that you're just casually being like, I want to kill them. No, I want to kill them. Make up your mind. Are you scared of them or you want to kill them?
I mean,
it's the
fight or
most
flight,
southern way of doing things,
We're afraid of you because you have so much power, but also I'm gonna kill you and I'm gonna take pleasure in it because I'm able to kill you.
Yeah.
Aiden,
like,
you just described.
Make up your mind.
You literally just described racism and lynching.
Yeah.
Fine. Ags, can you grab Olivia and meet us at Aubrey's?
Sure thing. Gotta grab my New Balances in case I need to make a clean getaway. All right, here I go. Madison.
Artemis, please. I got a lot on my plate right now. Everybody's freaking out, and they're relying on me to put a plan together. And shoot. Oh, we should probably lock up Barney's Hall of Curiosities. Probably every store, actually. Oh, I can't have anyone getting looted. That would not be good for business.
You had to hand it to Madison, even in the middle.
That'd be good for business. I mean, Barney's not around for
the
business.
Little guy.
Yeah, it makes me feel extra bad for putting more
Barney
pressure
is
on
a
her.
purple dinosaur.
I mean, Barney was the character who was. Yeah, he was obsessed with dinosaurs in Wayward Guide. Then it's like, oh yeah, that's why his name was Barney. Got it.
Yeah.
What mental
Makes me feel
illness do
extra
you
bad
guys
for-
think the kids had in that show?
I don't know.
Oh, I've got a video for you. The kids would not be the ill ones according to this particular theory in question.
Putting more pressure on her.
Oh, let's get some canned goods.
Yeah, I've got to show you The Godlike Powers of Barney the Dinosaur by Tom Scar and Friends later.
If folks are gonna be stuck inside for a while, we got to make sure they still get food.
Madison, I know things
I
are
just
getting out of
rewatched that
control,
today,
but you have the power to end this. No one will listen
What
to me
an
and Paul, but you
amazing
can
title!
get them to do
All
the
right.
Absolutely.
You can get them to not randomly shoot at people who may or may not be werewolves.
That is true. There's a gun and ammo store, and they are, in cahoots with each other. So, well, kind of. They're rivals, but still.
Well,
This task force
is exactly what the people need to feel safe.
Madison.
Yeah, I feel safe with a militia going around trying to hunt down an enemy. They don't know where it is or what it's capable of. That's great. I feel so safe.
Iraq War.
I mean,
I like how every time
doctrine.
I like how every time Aiden tries to make fun of the way things they're saying, it's like, no, there's real life equivalents though too. Like these are all like, you're right, these shouldn't make sense, but they just actually happen. It's totally realistic.
Yeah, the difference in this case is that the Iraq War was taken to Iraq rather than officials from there. Versus this, which is related to Connor Creek itself. But actually, if we're going to the sense of like trying to police something that is not understood, I referenced this in the previous episode. But again, the Truman Doctrine, considering the name of the newly elected leader, that seems to correlate as well.
Yeah. And you gotta
admit
something.
Because you have to keep in mind that there was also that bit where they said that they were like doing biological warfare, and then we did research, and they actually just weren't. They had no biological weapons at all. But it was good for some news.
I guess, yeah.
It's off about this werewolf business.
I can't figure out what you want from me, Artemis. First, you push me into the town council race, then you tell me to back out of it. And just a few minutes ago, you came to my defense, only now to tell me what I'm doing is wrong. For someone claiming they want to make sense of everything, you sure do a heck of a job confusing people.
Listen, I've just been in your shoes. I know how it feels to let your desire to help people cloud your better judgment.
Stop.
That's exactly what's happening right now. You're in her shoes
You don't
currently.
know what it's like. You have never been sheriff of a town being attacked by werewolves. You've never had innocent people die
that's a very specific situation. I guess.
I do like how she started out with, like, you've never been sheriff, and then she paused, like I can picture her, like, cocking her head, like, well, I guess I don't know that. I know what she definitely doesn't know.
Sheriff Shoehorn has got a little bit of ring to it, I guess.
Watch, and you've never lost your
Well, you
brother.
know, a fun fact, I have been in your shoes. I was a sheriff in a town besieged by werewolves.
My judgment is clear as day. The only thing clouding it is your judgment. Now, excuse me.
That didn't feel great.
Not only
That's
was
an
Madison our
interesting
friend,
premise. Actually, I know, like, genuinely, I know we were talking about, like, comics earlier, and we were kind of joking. That idea is kind of interesting. The idea of, like, I have a moral compass, and then that person turning around and saying, no, my moral compass is wrong, despite the fact that I follow it, and I follow it because of your example.
I'm not sure if she's saying that that she thinks her moral compass is wrong. She's saying that if anything, she's saying that Artemis is the one confusing her moral compass, or giving her advice that conflicts with what she was already standing for in the first place. Artemis herself said earlier on that Sheriff Madison always sides with the town. So she was very consistent until Artemis showed up. I think we've seen the opposite scenario here to that example, to what you just described.
she was genuinely one of the kindest, most compassionate people I've ever met. It was like Mr. Rogers getting mad at you.
Paul, you don't need to rub it in.
Sure, but I'm providing context for the listeners.
Sure, but what we did was...
I mean, that is kind of... That's essentially what we do all the time. So yeah, you know what, Paul? We see you here.
Holy shit. Holy shit. That reminds... Hold on. Yeah, this is it. Have you guys seen Mr. Rogers Explains the Cthulhu Mythos?
No.
So I saw this meme and I was like, is that a real conversation? I looked it up. It is. It's a Reddit post. So it says, explain the Cthulhu Mythos like I'm a kid and you're Mr. Rogers. And of course, when they said that, they didn't mean it literally. But when you then go to the comments, you get, well, hello there, neighbor. Do you like the sun? I sure do. It brightens our lives with its light, providing us with warmth and food for plants. Without the sun, we wouldn't be here to enjoy each other's company. We're dependent on our sun, like how children depend on their mommies and daddies. Yet, we know our parents support us because they love us, and we love them back. The sun doesn't have feelings. It's bigger and more powerful than we can imagine. Supplies us with life, controls our destiny, and has no love for us at all. It simply is, and has been for a long, long, long time. That doesn't feel very nice to think about, does it? The universe is cold and dark, and our place in it relies on something beyond our control. That knowledge can make us feel small. I know I feel small when I look up at the sky and think about my place in life. Fear not, my neighbor. Fear not, my neighbor. It's a beautiful night in the neighborhood tonight, for the stars are aligned.
Fear not, my neighbor. It sounds like you're about to be like, fear not, my neighbor. We are all brothers in Christ.
It's a beautiful night in the neighborhood tonight, for the stars are aligned. Take a look through my telescope, and you may see the truth hidden in the stars. We frail humans live tiny, short, insignificant lives next to the size and power of the cosmos. To fully understand the truth of the stars, you must lose yourself completely to the random and uncaring nature of our reality. Do not gaze too deeply into the void, for the void may begin to look back at you with eyes more terrifying than your scariest nightmare.
Okay, cool, but we should continue.
It isn't really explaining the mythos at all. It's setting the mood. It sets the atmosphere, absolutely.
No, that is explaining the mythos. That is the entire point of the mythos.
Cool. Anyways,
it's the point of the mythos, but it's not the mythos itself. Moving on.
Sure, but the people of Connor Creek were too wrapped up in their own issues to see that.
Yeah, I told you this is not really the best time.
Well, when is, Desmond? Connor Creek, your home, is a powder keg. In a matter of days, your peaceful existence has been turned upside down. Your neighbors need sensible people like you
to keep a level head and not rustle any feathers. Best to be calm in a storm, right?
keep
You
going.
can
Carry on,
Twitter that if you like.
The doctor is out.
Des, a vodka neat and a whiskey chaser, please.
That should be required.
Cisco! Hey, Cisco.
Yeah. That should be a requirement for whenever like doctors clock in and out of work. So the patients are like sitting there, and especially the overnight ones, they'll just hear like in it like the doctor is out. And it's like, well, good thing I don't need anything right now.
I suppose, yeah.
Henry.
I think they did just make a lot of the time, like, used to announce the doctor is in, the doctor is out for that very reason.
Tonight, Henry.
Perfect. I prefer drinking alone anyway.
Sometimes you just don't get the hint because you're in too deep.
Okay, the kitchen's closing, Helen, so put your order in now if you're eating, okay?
Sure thing, Des.
Are you serious right now? Your friends are dying, and you're doing your part by closing early? Jesus, Desmond, I know you're a pacifist, but I didn't take you for a fool.
Actually, cancel my order. I'll have what she's drinking.
Artie, back off.
Yeah, I'd appreciate that.
I just don't understand you people. Here we are, doing hours and hours of work to help this town, and no one listens to us. We're not even from here.
Well, maybe that's your problem. You need a good night's sleep in your own bed. Back home.
Is everything all right over there?
Sure is.
And that's where the southern accents come in.
Sure is. Just discussing changes to the Shoehorn Reservation. Maybe you two should think about skipping town tomorrow.
Losing Madison's trust was hard enough, but now our only remaining allies were abandoning us left and right.
As a journalist, reputation and
Like when we met Desmond the first time, we thought, he's like a suspicious character, but no, Desmond's, just kind of a level-headed individual most of the time.
Without them, doing your job becomes really difficult.
This was arguably the toughest day of the investigation.
And the lowest point in the hero's journey before the rising action brings it to the climax. I mean,
although I'm gonna be honest, I feel like if this is the lowest point, normally the lowest point happens probably like near the very end, like I would say episode 8 or episode 9 is where the lowest point would hit.
Yeah, about to reach episode 8.
But they're recapping episode 7. Normally the lowest point would happen episode 8 or episode 9.
Episode 7.
Okay, yeah, this is actually a distinction that sort of happened, I guess while you were away. They stopped recapping the episodes for the most part and started to but they talk about events that happened in the previous episode, but they kind of go into like other details they don't necessarily mention in the companion series.
Yeah, did they not mention these details about them potentially losing everyone's trust? Did they not mention these very important?
Oh, they start to build on that, but they're going much more into detail here.
Yeah, they also just aren't. Yeah, they also just aren't, like, you're saying they're important, but like, again, that's not relevant to the story.
I mean, it's kind of important enough to be emphasized a lot in the podcast episode.
Because the podcast and the series are going for 2 different stories here.
Which is, again, it's become more evident in the time of Aiden's absence than it was when he last checked in with us, I guess. When he last checked in, what am I saying? When we last checked in with Aiden, like I'm on the podcast.
Doctor is in.
At the start of this story, I genuinely thought we'd come out the other end as heroes, as the saviors who successfully weeded this town of corruption and shined a little light.
Ah, yes, this is another trope that you've run into, Artemis, here, the savior complex.
Weeded this town of corruption and shined a little light on the darkness. But my ambition complicated things. I became so intent on how we could solve this case that I forgot to stop and ask if getting involved was even a good idea in the first place.
When you're in the business of getting into other people's business, it's hard to tell when you need to just mind your own business. Especially if your own business is other people's business.
Maybe Connor Creek didn't need saving. Maybe our investigation made things worse. Maybe we were the scientists and
kind of both. Technically both.
Those are the ones you can sympathize with.
Paul, that doesn't help.
If we want to address that cliche and then be like, maybe we are this person, it's not the scientists of the Planet of the Apes, it's probably more like the zookeepers in Jurassic Park.
Okay. I mean, yeah, I suppose. I guess it depends on which version of Planet of the Apes we're talking about here, because that's also a franchise that's been rebooted like 3 times.
That's fair.
So there we were, Holed up in Connor Creek, facing the most danger we'd ever been in, with no friends and not a clue of where to go next. I bet Barbara Walters never had to deal with this shit.
Well, Barbara Walters seemed to have operated on her own by your description of her show, so I don't know.
Yeah, so the problem is actually your werewolf brother.
Which, by the way, that is a thing that they mention here. The three townsfolk that I guess like revealed themselves to be werewolves, or at least they explained that they were, and that's what's happening to Paul. So we're gonna get more detail in that. But I guess that does mean that, unbeknownst to them, as a time of, I guess, them getting this these recordings, they had more Alice than they thought they did.
Next time on Wayward Guide.
We don't need the next time segment. No next time segment. No previews. We're about to watch episode 8.
You know what? That's fair because we're on limited time. So you know what? That's we'll shuffle over. All right. Here's episode 8 already prepared. Let's go.
Oh, is that Emma Perkins?
No, I don't think so.
No, but it's Lauren Lopez, which is the reference that he's making.
Which is why we need lookouts on the rooftops of these well-known Connor Creek landmarks: School Gymnasium, Ed's Marionette Theater, Old Green Barn.
Oh no! If she had said Old Mill, that would have almost been 3 Hatchetfield landmarks that were like, you know,
exactly like
dude, we're about to this is the triangulation of the sillies.
Oh my god! No way! This whole Connor Creek is just an alternate name for Hatchetfield. It's just an alternate name.
Turns out we're in the distant past, back when the back when the Hatchetfield
in a galaxy far away.
Yeah. Well,
Sheriff, is this
black and white.
really necessary?
I don't even know if I have the.
Are you in the murdered woman's crystal shop?
Yeah.
Why are you just chilling in the murdered woman's crystal shop? This is a crime scene.
It's not like she's using it anymore.
The building was available.
She's dead. You can't just steal her crystal shop.
Sure you can.
She's been murdered.
What's your point?
You can't just do in the sheriff's station. Why are you in this? Look,
they needed a venue, and you know, there's some. If the only police officer is allowing you entry, I guess it's not a restricted area.
Yeah, I mean, there was, you know, really, she didn't die. She just had a forced eviction
from life.
Yep.
Yeah,
and this place.
Board in school and make maps. That is entirely fair. I think I tried that once, and never again. She's dead. Yoink. I'll hide out now.
Only if that worked like that in real life.
Olivia, you own the ammo shop.
Yes, but I take.
Also, that was Olivia. We asked if we met Olivia before, so we have. If that's her, then yeah.
Wow. It's like I don't remember Olivia. That's like,
no, that's fair. I mean, at least you remember. Yeah. At least you remembered Prism. I mean, they were nice enough to invite her to the venue itself. I mean, look, she's there. She's on the table.
Yeah, you know, she's chilling there.
Of making my artillery very special. Huh? Each one is different, beautiful, in its own way, like a snowflake. If you're gonna shoot something, you're not just gonna put any old slug in the chamber, cock it, and blast it away.
I mean, I guess that's a good way to track down people if they murder someone. I guess if each ammo's unique. I guess.
This image, this frame here is fantastic. No, just with both of them. Like, I'm pretty sure this is also Officer February.
This image. We need it for memes. It must be. This could be a meme.
This is the Kiri and Zazzle reunion we didn't know we needed, but now we're really grateful for. And to those who've seen Firebringer, you'll get that.
Hi, sweetie. That is what a bullet is. And if it's supply you're worried about, I say we buy in bulk. Now, I have scouted Sam's Clubs here, here, and here. Now, the closest one is 450 miles away, but if we leave, now, then we'll have enough time to stock up before we all die.
Madison! Let's talk werewolves. Why'd you do that?
Because it was cool.
That is one of the werewolves, or people who have said they're werewolves. Yeah. Oh, we also mentioned this last time, Aiden. I don't know if you're still here because you're muted, but
I'm here.
Okay, yeah. So we said before that that actually one thing they could have done is they could have used the same theme song for the podcast, but played it over this animation. We said like, oh yeah, that'd be an interesting like project to do at some point. And then completely forgot about it for a week. Obviously, the animation wouldn't perfectly align if that was done, but it would be relatively all right.
Yeah, because
difference in tempo.
Yeah, because we prefer the podcast as like theme, but this animation is pretty rad. So
yeah, I like it. It is obviously like synced up. Like this, like even the walking speed of Artemis and Paul would not match up. It'd have to like slow it down. It'd probably be way worse. Well, there's the void staring back at you. Just knows the eyes in that.
Hey, where are you at? She knows where she's going.
I assume she does.
Do we serve a purpose?
You asked.
If we gotta blow the whole place, we'll blow the whole place. What?
Quick for Torsten. We got a bogey. Flying in. Copy that.
Hey, this is Rocky. I got eyes on Miss Shoehorn as well. All right, hold. Hold. I said hold. Okay, access denied. Appointment. Oh. Well, if she had an appointment.
Skipping town so soon, Silas? Just when things are starting to get interesting around here.
My God, she's already pointing. Okay, I know she said before that they had to both agree for something to be off the record in order for it to count. But I don't know if you could just like just go up to point a recorder at someone and being like, "All right, then, fess up." Don't know if that would fly.
Fess up! Oh, I'm gonna accuse you of crimes on my podcast. This won't get me any legal action in the future.
I'm going to accuse you of various war crimes.
The accusing could get her in trouble. The actual like barging with recorder might not, depending on the state. Because in Texas, for instance, we have a one-party consent law, so we could do this.
I think we're in California, if I recall correctly. So yeah.
There's also trespassing though, because if he tells her to leave and she insists
it's
on
public
staying...
property.
But see, Aiden, she has an appointment.
Does she? I don't think she has an appointment. This doesn't look like it's appointment ready.
She said she had an appointment. I know it's hard to tell you she has an appointment.
Lady host.
Also, that's the image.
You know, honestly, I can't stand this place anymore. I'm sorry. Wait, did you say that things were actually starting to get interesting around these parts now?
Depends.
Well, you know, werewolf hunters, you know, that whole thing.
Yeah.
And murder of small town dissenters.
Okay, yeah, no. If it's California, then she's screwed. You need to. It's not a one-party consent state.
Well then.
On the S town, we get it. You want to blow this thing wide open, but there is nothing else to blow.
Oh.
Except.
Oh, of course.
You think you are?
Of course, that joke.
He's gonna say something else. It's gonna be a different thing, and she's gonna misinterpret it.
Man, I'm on the side of good here.
Why is this town so obsessed with sides? Just pick one. I am on the side of making money. You should be too.
So the side of
Are
evil?
you trying to bribe me?
God,
no, I'm not offering you
I'm
money.
just trying to make a point. Did you put
I'm not
that
offering
thing
you
away?
money.
Just put it away. Get that thing out of my face.
I'm gonna nail you for these crimes, Torsen.
You are
Oh, she does seem to realize she actually does have to put it away.
barking up the wrong tree.
I am also accusing you of crimes again. But you know, this isn't gonna get me in legal trouble at all if you have money. God. You're going to jail. You're gonna have to pay a lot of
Oh,
money.
we're almost on a thumbnail image actually for this episode.
Dang, he is really sexy.
I guess. Oh, I just realized as well that this episode, this is the thumbnail image. Well, almost. He's putting a different face in the thumbnail, but other than that, it is, near at that point. And I don't even.
Do you think they took thumbnail stills, or do you think they just filmed the episodes and just picked random stills from the episode to make the thumbnails, or do you think they actually took photos for thumbnail?
I can see them doing either or something. I can see them set this. They're like, okay, we filmed this scene right now. Now, can you pose in this particular way with this frame for the camera? It's like, well, of course, or whatever the pose he would have pulled there. Yeah, whatever face that would And I can't match up his face exactly, but yeah. So maybe a combination. Also, the episode is called "In Sheep's Clothing Is Wearing All White."
Oh,
Maybe
well, all right.
Yeah, Dog Dimmadome or the dog of the Dimdale's Dimmadome.
Oh, there we go. That's exactly because Kitty came in at that same time.
Wait. Oh, I just realized. Oh, I didn't even. So if it's called, obviously, what you were just implying, right? Wolf in sheep's clothing, which it just occurred to me. He said barking up the wrong tree.
I don't think he's making a sheepdog's joke, or at least intentionally.
No.
Well, wolves still bark, so.
Oh. Fair enough.
Obviously, I mean, obviously, you know, bark in that instance is meant to be referring to tree bark, but, you know, that people have interpreted it in that way.
LOL.
What?
Too many liabilities. I'm much more of a white collar kind of criminal myself.
Oh, literally.
What? Okay, don't also call yourself a criminal. This is not helping. It's not helping either of your guys' case right now. I'm just saying.
Off the opposition
Well,
for
the thing is,
political
both of them know
financial-
it, and as long as there's no recordings, then
And now
he doesn't
she's
really have
directly
anything to
accusing
hide.
him, and now she's directly accusing him of crime of killing people. Okay, you know, this
By
is
masquerading as a werewolf.
what?
Oh my god.
That sounds
Oh my God,
crazy. You're going to go to jail.
No, she's going to go to a psychiatric ward with her. She was mentioned the word werewolf. People are going to be like, oh, okay, all right.
Oh, so
I see what's happening. You're having an episode.
It's like, you're under arrest on second thought.
On second
We're still handcuffing you, but we aren't sending you to prison.
we're turning left instead of right at the next exit, you know.
If we can just keep you sitting tight, handcuffed over here in the seat, we'll call an ambulance for you.
Oh, God.
And they'll get you where you need to be.
To be perfectly honest, I can imagine just that they could just use the police car, just like take her to the facility rather than having to call an ambulance to come down and collect her anyway.
They could. Generally, practice is to call an ambulance, though.
All right.
Bidding you, sick son of a bitch!
Well, if we're talking about references to canines, I'm not going to say it, but we all heard.
Sure.
It. Yeah.
Oh, what? Oh, you know what word, Jacob? I want you to say it.
It was actually 4 in succession.
I want you to say the phrase.
Well, okay, but only one of them is related to canines.
I don't know.
Yeah,
I mean, dogs have sons.
They do, which is precisely why it's related.
Crazier than that Reynolds boy.
Yeah. You do sound.
She has
crazy.
kind of. Yeah, she has essentially become what Ryan Reynolds was in this instance, like when he came to her for help, even right down to like the erratic delivery that she's giving right now.
Okay, so some.
And he was always like that, so that doesn't count.
People in town might have powers. Yeah. Okay, sorry. Powers, that's weird and dumb. What I meant to say was more like there's some people with special abilities. Yeah.
Yeah.
This feels like there's like a PC terminology talk or something.
And they wouldn't never hurt anybody. Paul,
oh my God.
About the werewolves? No, ma'am. I am not.
No, I'm talking about other people with powers. The X-Men. They're here. We have the X-Men in town.
This is hard. Do you understand? What I'm talking about is,
So City Boy's one of us. It's as we suspected. He's turning. What should we do? Does he know?
Oh.
Ooh. Nick Lang was able to hear that. Perhaps one of his abilities is super hearing. Huh?
Well, that makes sense.
Or I'm just so used to the peripheral hearing of my street, and so like,
characters losing the ability to hear peripheral. Yeah, they're hearing
exactly.
Like it's like, oh, it's not being addressed to me. Okay, I can't hear what you're saying. What are you saying? You're saying something. I don't really care.
By the way, you're 100% correct here. Artemis is related to the moon. Yeah, she's the goddess of the moon in Greek mythology, amongst other things, obviously. And also the goddess. Yes, exactly. It was also the goddess of the hunt, which is interesting considering her position on the werewolf task force at the moment. I wonder if they're going to play into that later.
Which can, on occasion, include lesbianism.
Okay.
Everybody. Hey, y'all. Guess who was on
That's
hold
a really long
before
phone
Air
cord.
Force Base? This gal. Now, I told them to put me in touch with the Commander-in-Chief right at the top of the ladder so we can
What
get
are we
this
gonna
moving.
nuke the town?
I mean, this isn't the Simpsons movie. The Commander-in-Chief can do other things.
Emergency, or at least get some ground support. Now, the officer on the other end of the line gave me a very encouraging laugh and put me right on hold. So, just a few minutes, all right? Okay.
Oh, yeah, very encouraging.
So it's kind of like...
I once wrote to the president when I was 4. He didn't reply.
I mean, maybe that's for the best, you know?
I mean, he wasn't going to reply anyway. Did anyone on his staff reply? Because that's generally what happens.
I don't remember them doing so.
Man,
they just actually ghosted you.
What?
That's a fantastic YouTube title. George Bush Jr. ghosted me.
Oh my god.
Or a woman.
We have to tell Madison the truth.
Absolutely not. I heard their plans. They'll slaughter us.
It's true.
Oh my god! Nick Lang! Unlike the sheriff over here, you actually have the ability to hear things!
The sheriff is actively putting her fingers in her ears at the moment.
I think she's putting her finger on her temples, more likely.
She is.
You know.
Do you have a better plan?
Yes.
What, are you gonna tell them you're a werewolf?
We're gonna eat them.
I'm a werewolf.
Oh.
Nick Lang's like, but that was short-lived.
Okay, so this is what we're doing now. And so am I. I'm a werewolf. I'm half a wolf.
I'm a werewolf.
All werewolves are half wolf.
Yeah, we talked about this last episode. They've got some weird terminology for Paul specifically. I think they're kind of going with the idea of what happened to Bill Weasley in Harry Potter, but even then they didn't say half werewolf. They said you have some wolfish tendencies. But yeah, in this case, I guess he's a quarter wolf.
All right. Hey, y'all. Quick update, because I know you're waiting with bated breath.
The thing about it is I'm calling the police. They hung up. I was closer in age to that baby with a gun. So yeah, that does make sense.
So it sounded like someone finally picked up the phone. The music stopped and all, so I said, hello, into the phone, but I just heard some breathing. That was it. So I'm not sure if they transferred my call or, changed the whole music or just hung up on me, but...
They changed the whole music to someone breathing. That'd be an incredible prank, to be honest.
All I'm hearing is static right now.
What's your favorite scary movie? God. I messed up on that. I'm great at improv.
Denuda. Anyway.
Fingers crossed. All right, be right. I'll see you in a little bit. All right.
Emma, stop smoking that much weed. You need to lay off.
That phone has a really long cord for a corded phone.
Yeah.
Which also, consider. Do we mention the fact that
also, aren't we in semi-present day? We had podcasts, so who has a phone like that nowadays?
I'm very so we're supposed to be modern day for when this was released. So
come on, who has a phone like that?
Quite a few people. There's so many different reasons. Like teachers and stuff. Like older buildings will generally have.
But that looks like one that would be on your desk. Like normally they're wired into a wall.
That's why the cord is super long. Yeah.
Yeah. Let's say there's that. There's obviously if your home is particularly old, it might have a home phone installed, which isn't very.
The Crystal Lady just didn't believe in modern technology.
I mean, that's
possible. She wanted to go the way of the ancients.
Well, I guess that's possible, but it's not actually that rare.
Which, by the way, using that kind of phone seems annoying with the whole spinning the thing, the.
Well, I mean, in media, it's often used to make that very point of how of somebody getting tangled up because they're so nervous and such that's a good representation of it rather than obviously the freer versions that are so commonplace now.
Anyways, back to the werewolf coming out scene.
the decor in this place. Well, clearly so did they, and that's why they didn't. That's why Prism wasn't there to approve them.
It reminds me of Cauldron Lake Lodge.
Mm-hmm.
Are you guys messing with me right now? It has been a really rough day.
No, I'm not.
It would feel that way.
It seems old great-grandpa demented Dockweiler.
What?
Right?
Dockweiler?
Louis. Was true.
Was truey.
Yes! I did it!
And you have to believe us when we say that we are not the enemy here.
Well, how can I? If this is true, then you've been lying to me my entire life.
Wait, hold on
Lie by omission.
a second. Before you found out they were werewolves, they were also your friends, Madison. Okay? Remember that. For once.
How old are you guys anyway? I mean, because I'm sorry. You know what? That doesn't matter.
God.
I mean, the way that he phrased it is an innocent question. I get the whole cliche, but that.
Maybe this will make it easier for you to trust us.
Okay.
To show that we trust you.
CGI werewolf. CGI werewolf transformation. Out.
Okay, the fact that it only started hurting her seconds after touching it implies she either had like some resistance to it, or that that's not that she's actually pretending right now.
Well, no, I think the idea is it's meant to like, the more it has contact, the like hotter it gets.
Like that, yeah, probably. You know, maybe they have like some sort of resistance touching silver. You know, or at least they touch silver for a little bit, like to test their pain tolerance. And the raising burning thing is like
they just eat silver bullets like jalapenos.
Oh God. No, they eat with silver. They eat with literal silverware. They're like, okay, it's time to eat spaghetti. Here we go.
That'd be the worst choice. That'd be the worst choice of cutlery for them. But yeah,
they're training their pain tolerance. They're training their pain tolerance.
I see.
Yeah, and remember, they're not masochists. They just want to see how far they can go.
Of course, they test their limits. It's all about power. Yeah,
of course.
Oh wait, no, they hate that word. Never mind.
Hey, y'all. Bad news. The government did, in fact, hang up on me.
Oh.
Good news.
Equal the place
Kitchen of the Dead Canary is still open, and guess who ordered takeout?
Oh wait, I just realized. Oh, I get it. The music stopped, and now all I can hear is breathing. She was hearing her own breathing.
All right.
We had a good run.
Oh, okay. Oh, you mean like on the other line? On the line? Oh, I see what you mean. Okay, yeah.
We had a good run.
Hey! Don't be sad. I like you. So I'm just trying to save you the embarrassment of taking this conversation and calling it journalism.
Yeah.
Silence for Cliff. Has my ride arrived yet?
You think I'm gonna sacrifice all my integrity and hard work because I'm afraid you think I'm crazy?
No, I think you'll do it because you're afraid of everyone else thinking that you're crazy.
Yeah.
Your boss, your colleagues, all the devoted listeners at APN.
Well, facts are facts.
And your facts involve taking advantage of all these nice folks of Connor Creek, putting their dirty laundry just on display.
And talk about werewolves. Let's not forget they have mentioned them on the podcast a couple times at this point.
A little bit.
But that's a different conversation for a different day. Cliff.
Oh God, they got eaten by werewolves.
I'm gonna guess Cliff fell from a massive height, and that's the joke. But we'll see.
No,
Cliff, where the hell's my ride at?
A big white wolf, it just came out of nowhere and it killed them! It tore the irons to pieces, even the little girl!
Oh God, the child murder.
Yeah, even the little girl that was taller than her parents. Okay.
Oh. You murdered a child?
I don't actually think we've been properly introduced.
Wait, how's his heart still beating? You ripped it out of his chest.
No, that actually That actually does happen with hearts when you rip them out. Like they keep beating for some time until eventually they piece her out. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's how that works. Dang, I didn't know your heart actually beats outside your chest.
Yeah, I don't know if you know that. So, you know the phrase like chicken with its head cut off?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's based on a chicken that they cut the head off at just the right point where the brain stem was still there, and so it's still around. Humans are not that different. If we have our heads chopped off too, we'll stay conscious for a few more seconds to minutes.
Well, that's great. You know, I get to see my head fall off my body.
Well, no, because your
head will be the thing that sees, something.
Well, I guess I get to see my own butt as my head falls down.
Yeah, well, it's not so much that, obviously we can't ask them, but,
hey, what was it like to get your head cut off?
Yeah,
oh,
but
pretty nice.
Yeah, but I mean, generally speaking, it's... yeah, I mean, it's simple. It's not like a cartoon, necessarily, but, they still have brain activity for a little bit there.
God.
It took me a second to
becomes like the world's most
miming.
successful mime.
McMahon.
Sorry, I need to hear that name again. I need to because we kind of I can hear our comment section now. You missed out the name reveal. Okay, let's do this again. Nope, not far back enough. Let's there we go. Yeah, about here. We'll see the heart again.
Oh, my shoehorn! I don't actually think we've been properly introduced. The name's Truman McMahon.
Oh, so Truman was her first name. It's like Sheriff Madison again, with being Sheriff Madison Reynolds. Okay. All right then. I believe the McMahons have been mentioned multiple times on the podcast as someone else who's on the higher ups essentially. I think higher than forgot his name already. Jeez. I guess she was right to try to put Sheriff Madison in that election. There you go. Never trust a leader named Truman. That's what I'll say.
They never end up well.
No, they don't. All right, well, that was episode 8, and the two founding clans. There we go. Right, thought so. Again, I'm really glad that we have those thorough people as well.
Well,
I said this on Country yesterday that watching these 1 week apart from each other, and also in the midst of other things as well, definitely does not help with the memorization of these things. But yeah. It's
founding clans or founding fathers.
Well, I mean, in this particular instance, I mean, Truman wasn't a founding father. He was way later on. So yeah, wouldn't have worked in that sense.
Yeah, but it's still a distinctly American early history presidential generally term.
I guess, but a little bit earlier than mid 20th century.
Sure.
The weird font is back. Corey. They've always had this for their credit names, for their names in the credits. I mean, not their credit names. That's obviously their actual names. What am I talking about? I don't know. So yeah. I mean, the podcast seemed to be implying the lowest moment. The Comanche has never got to a point where, I mean, I guess you could say, okay, well, lowest moment, now that she has no leads or anything, and now everyone thinks that she's crazy. I mean, potentially, I guess Truman could just, let her go and see what happens if anyone actually believes her or not at this point. That might be what happens.
Or she get held hostage as well,
It depends, because she did in other episodes put a lot of effort into making snide comments about her to discredit her in the eyes of the public, which kind of helped get to the point that we were in the podcasting we just listened to. It wasn't the exclusive reason behind it, but it was definitely a contributing factor.
So far in general, I like the show. my major issue right now with it is length, because this episode itself was only really constructed out of, I guess, technically 2 scenes, but the scenes were interrupted. So I guess 4 scenes if you want to count it in total, but it was like 2 individual scenes that had something that were like cut in half. If that makes any sense. Like we have the scene in that like crystal shop, and then we have the scene in the office. And
I wouldn't say that's a length issue. I'd say that's a pacing issue.
I mean, yeah, but like this whole show, unfortunately, has a limited scenes in episodes, and like I don't know, I kind of wish there were more scenes tacked on a few more minutes per episode, because this episode, for the most part, covered Sheriff finding out about the werewolves, and it also covered what's her name? I forget her name. Artemis confronting sheriff guy who gets killed, which
I had a funny mental state comparison to Ryan Reynolds as well.
Which I guess is a major weakness, being the fact that certain episodes can be easily boiled down to simply 2 plot points, I guess, like, or a plot pointer is like, okay, this is basically what this episode does. Versus, I feel like if each scene was establishing 20 different plot points and like several different more stuff going on.
Do you know what a plot point is?
Yeah.
What you're describing aren't plot points. 2 plot points per episode is more than most series get.
I guess I guess what he means is more events. 2 events in the episode.
Events and stuff
like that. Plot point being the decline mental states. Yeah. 2 events and a plot point.
It kind of just feels generally, I don't know, I kind of wish there's more to each episode, if that makes any sense. Like the quality of each episode is great. I just wish each episode had more to it, because I feel like you could watch 3 to 4 episodes in a row and you would pretty much get the amount of content and amount of story that you would in, I guess, a single episode. Or like if you watch 2 episodes, you'd get the amount of story you should probably be getting in a single episode. If that makes sense.
Yeah, I've said this before, but I think obviously like the main weakness in the way that we react to these, do them once a week, is the fact that this is made for the internet, which means that to some degree it's made to be binge watched.
But I also assume this came out weekly, therefore people are watching this.
Why would you? Make that assumption?
In an initial release,
it's a safe bet when it comes to releases of internet shows. One that I can easily check right now, actually. I don't have the playlist open anymore because the tab closed, but I can definitely backtrack in terms of the upload dates. Oh, I see. This episode did in fact air in 2020. Never mind. It was I guess 2020. Oh wait, no. But if it was like from their childhoods, I guess it would have been a expected future. So still applies. I guess they must have filmed these a long time before, because I don't imagine that they wanted to deal with any restrictions of the age. Not that they couldn't have done, because it's a rather remote location anyway. They could have easily quarantined together, but I mean, just in general. So yeah, that was December 1st, and last episode was November 24th. Okay, so this was basically a week later.
So yeah, we basically from a viewing experience,
I just looked at 1 and 2. Yeah, so okay, you're right.
And also with a series of this production quality, I feel like dumping it all at once, unless you're something like Netflix getting money from people's subscription, isn't going to be very profitable.
No, probably not.
Probably not.
Because, God, dumping shows. Oof. I don't even think dumping shows is that profitable most of the time, but
There is a certain there is a certain satisfaction that comes from like generating like excitement for yourself, or even like how mainstream TV of course has done for a long time. It's like, okay, advertise this is going to air at this time, or at this time for this length of time or whatever, and tune in for that at that moment. And that's kind of what premieres and I guess scheduled uploads are in aid of, to some degree, like that familiarity. Obviously, we actually, by the way, behind the scenes, a couple of days ago, maybe yesterday, actually, like the 3 of us here as I'm talking to the audience right now, the three of us here actually had a debate whether or not, because we have 2 streams planned for today, and that's why we started this one early. Would it be better to start to do the other stream first, and then this one at the actual usual time? Problem is the other stream is D&D, so that would obviously run way longer. So it would end up, in having to have a hard cut in order to make the timeline that we normally would have. And it also just turned out that not all of us were available at the time anyway, so it ended up working out this way. But that was a conversation that we had on account of we know that people are familiar with our upload schedule, and that's like one of the main things we keep consistent across for week in, week out. It's not the only thing. Well, there's not.
Hey, Jacob.
Yeah.
I gotta go pick up a pizza real quick, but
okay.
Before I go, I'm gonna mention I'm gonna mention in the Discord chat. I put the title of what the D&D thing is going to be called, and I put what the backgrounds are necessary for this episode.
We probably would have seen that after we ended stream.
So I'm just specifying what that was. So
okay.
When I get back from picking up pizza, I will call that thing, and we'll do a proper setup for stream. So yeah.
All right. This brings me to another point, actually. The stream that we've got to do later is going to
D&D will be ideally we'll start at 5:30 if we could get everything set up in time. Ideally.
Emphasis on ideally. I also want to try and make myself some dinner during that time, because otherwise, like it says in the description, my stomach will probably hate me on account of doing 2 of these in one go, and one of them, like I said, overrunning significantly from what we usually deal with.
Can we establish a time zone? Because you can't just say 5:30.
That's true. 5:30 for Aiden's time zone, which is EST. So yeah. So basically, about 40-ish minutes from now, I think is the intention. We'll see. I'll probably have finished cooking dinner and then have been halfway through it by that time. But again, depends on the setup, especially from my end, because it comes down to a lot of stuff of me tweaking things around. But yeah, we'll see. I had to watch Stoner Guide on my own. I like this. Great, fantastic. I mean, we have said we don't want to end up being the replacement for these materials, even for the Gachas review on my main channel and such. We don't want to end. I mean, actually, some of the time with those ones, they end up being terrible, so people just aren't encouraged to watch them anyway on their own. But the ones that are good, I hope people check them out. And in the case of Starkid and Tin Can Bros and all that stuff as well, yeah, absolutely. So I'm glad that's the case, because I mean, if the commenters made anything clear to us, is that we definitely we definitely have a different vibe to the material from before. So if you're looking for the original thing, there it is for you to enjoy. I guess we'll wrap up there because I need to go. So yeah, please leave a like. No, wrong outro. Let us know if that's been liking or disliking, and leaving your comments on things we might have left out, or just I guess something to do with the episode. I'm not sure anymore. When was your last werewolf attack? And we'll see you all soon enough in another Butter Bunch video, which is right after this one in 40 minutes. So toodle pip.
Bye-bye.